Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing video, and this week we are going to be looking at the Adeptus Mechanicus flyer, the Archaeopter. This has come out this weekend along with Engine War and a few other new kits which we'll be doing unboxings of later in the week. Now this is a design very much inspired by Da Vinci, very Adeptus Mechanicus. I personally love it. I've been so looking forward today to getting hold of this kit, and I'll be wasting no time in building this once we've finished filming this video. So the Archaeopter builds 3 different variants, which we're going to be taking a look at when we look at the assembly instructions. There's a couple of different weapon options and equipment options as well. It's such a unique looking flyer. We've not seen anything like this really for Warhammer ever, I don't think. So that's all very, very cool. But it's time to look at the sprues. So if we take the contents of the box here, we have of course got the assembly instructions, which we're going to be looking at in a few moments or a little bit later on in the video. Now onto the juicy parts, the sprues. The first thing you'll see is the brand new translucent cockpit. Now we've not seen anything like this on any of the other flyers or vehicles for Warhammer 40,000. They're really pushing the boundaries on what they can do with their their factory, what they're putting out in plastic. I mean, that looks ace. Can't wait to add that. Probably best putting that on once you've painted your whole flyer, mind you. They have made some slight design changes to the flying stands. Very similar to some of the older ones with the crosshair part that goes into the main hull of the ship. It's kind of a combination of the Carriage-on Overlords and the old flying stands for like the Corvus Black Star. I think that could work really well. It looks like that's quite substantial. I wish they'd done something like that with the Overlords, actually, as I mentioned them. Moving on to the main contents of the box, we've got the first of 2 sprues. Now, straight away, you can see that we've got some quite big components here. So the hull of the ship, the hull of the fighter, is basically in 2 parts, the majority of it, which makes assembly look like it's going to be an absolute doddle. You've got the cockpit for the pilot. You've got a few of the different weapon options on here, the fin, some other details. But yeah, it doesn't, I mean, straight away looking at this sprue, I can't see it being that difficult to assemble with it having so many large components. So that's very cool. As detailed as you would expect, a Games Workshop kit at the moment, which is really, really good. So we'll put that to one side and we'll take a look at the second sprue. And again, the wings there look like they're in just one big part, which is awesome. I can't see you having to add anything more to that, but we'll have a look in the assembly instructions in a moment. You've got a few other weapon options on there. You've got the bombs for the Fusilave, if that's how you're going to build yours. You've got the thrusters for the back of the ship. Very, very cool. I can't wait to build this. It's going to be so fun. I've just flipped that over to the other side. So yeah, very, very cool. So that's the sprues. We'll have a look at the assembly instructions. So this can build the Stratorapter, which is your fighter variant, which includes las cannons and the heavy phosphor blasters. You've also got the Fusilave, which is how I'm going to be building mine. That's the bomber variant. And you've got the Transvector, which is a transport with a capacity of 6. So if we just open it up. So you've got all the usual gubbins about all the, make sure you read this first, understand the assembly instructions. The first few pages are if you're going to be building the Stratorapter or the Fusilave, because the Transvector has a slightly different way of being assembled. There's a couple of different options. Again, it doesn't look too complicated. With it having so many large parts, it makes it really straightforward. Okay, we're moving on to the different variants now. So the Stratorapter is obviously built slightly different than the Fusilave, which we're moving on to now. There's a few little parts you've got to add to the wings, but absolutely nothing major. Again, this is, for the size of the kit, I think